This is the Music History Today podcast for November the 14th. On today's show, Michael Jackson premieres in a theater and on TV, and Pink Floyd is an opening act for Jimi Hendrix. First up, though, on this date in 1951, bandleader Louis Jordan married dancer Vicky Hayes. In 1952, the New Musical Express published the first British singles chart. In 1965, entertainer extraordinaire Miss Judy Garland married actor Mark Herron in Las Vegas. In 1967, the Jimi Hendrix Experience started their tour of the United Kingdom with Pink Floyd and The Move as their opening acts. That tour started with a gig on this date at the Royal Albert Hall in London, England. In 1983, Broadway composer Andrew Lloyd Webber's divorce from his wife Sarah Hugel became final. Also in 1983, Michael Jackson premiered the Thriller music video at the Esquire Music Theater in Los Angeles before it premiered on MTV on December 2nd, and we go in depth on this one and also on the next story on this week's Music History In-Depth podcast, which has already dropped on this network. Speaking of the next story, in 1991, Michael Jackson debuted his Black or White music video as a half-hour television special simultaneously on Fox, MTV, and BET. And here's another Michael Jackson story for you. In 1996, Michael Jackson married his wife Debbie Rowe in Sydney, Australia. Okay, enough with the Michael Jackson. In 2009, Nate Followill from Kings of Leon married singer Jesse Balin. In 2010, the Disney musical film Tangled premiered at the El Capitan Theater in Hollywood, California. In 2016, DJ David Mancuso, the founder of the legendary invite-only Loft dance parties at 647 Broadway in New York City, passed away at the age of 72. David's first Loft party, by the way, was held on February 14, 1970, and was called Love Saves the Day. In 2016, same day, country music singer Holly Dunn passed away from cancer at the age of 59. And in 2024, the guitarist who played the famous guitar part for the James Bond theme song in the original James Bond movie Dr. No, i.e. the guy who came up with it, essentially, Vic Flick, passed away at the age of 87. In award ceremonies that were held on November the 14th in 2004, Sheryl Crow and Usher were among the big winners at the American Music Awards. In 2012, Brian Eno was awarded the Royal Designer for Industry Award for sound design by the British Royal Society for the Arts. Albums that were released on November the 14th include in 1967 when the Monkees released Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn, and Jones Limited. In 1970, Syd Barrett released Barrett. In 1975, John Cale released Helen of Troy. In 1978, Gary Newman and Tubeway Army released Tubeway Army. In 1978, same day, Queen released Jazz. In 1979, Little Feat released Down on the Farm. In 1981, Earth, Wind & Fire released Raise. In 1983, Chic released Believer. In 1986, Fate's Warning released Awaken the Guardian. In 1988, Milli Vanilli released All or Nothing. In 1989, Eddie Money released his greatest hit Sound of Money album. In 1995, At the Gates released Slaughter of the Soul. Tracy Chapman released New Beginning. Melissa Etheridge released Your Little Secret. Guster released Parachute. And the Rolling Stones released Stripped. In 1997, Celine Dion released her album Let's Talk About Love. In 1998, Motley Crue released their greatest hits album. In 2003, LW released their self-titled album. Badfinger released Head First. Paul Revere and the Raiders released Mojo Workout. Geddy Lee from Rush released his solo album My Favorite Headache. In 2003, Jay-Z released the Black Album, and in 2006, Neil Young and Crazy Horse released Live at the Fillmore East. Singles that were released on November the 14th include in 1967 when Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell did a twofer. They released If This World Were Mine and If I Could Build My Whole World Around You. In 1975, Natalie Cole released Inseparable. In 1995, Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men released One Sweet Day, which held the record for the longest streak at number one on the Billboard singles chart for quite a long time. And I believe it was 13 weeks, and since then it's been shattered more than a few times. And in 2017, Taylor Swift released Endgame to radio stations only at that point. Before we continue, we'd like to tell you that we've started Season 2 of the Music History In-Depth podcast, where we go more in-depth on some of the events that we mention on this particular podcast. The Music History In-Depth podcast drops every Tuesday on this podcast network. Now, back to the Music History Today podcast. Artists who were born on November the 14th include composer Aaron Copland, Travis Barker of Blink-182, Joseph Run Simmons of Run DMC, rapper Lil Boozy, accordion player Buckwheat Zydeco, Cornell Gunter of The Platters, Freddie Garrity of Freddie and the Dreamers, singer Johnny Desmond, New Age performer Yanni, Frankie Banali of Quiet Riot, singer Stephen Bishop, Alec John Such of Bon Jovi, James Young of Styx, Brian Yale of Matchbox 20, R&B singer Adina Howard, Tobin Esperance of Papa Roach, jazz musician Ellis Marsalis, singer Gretchen Peters, rapper Baby Santana, singer Yuna, singer Sean Cavalier, jazz singer Sophie Fatou, singer Pedro Capo, rapper Lil G, and rapper Obi Trice. Artists who unfortunately passed away on November the 14th, other than the ones mentioned earlier, include pianist Felix Ostrowski, violinist Carl Fletch, pianist Maul De Falla, jazz saxophonist George Adams, keyboardist John J. Casella from John Mellencamp's band, orchestra conductor for the Don McNeil TV Club Eddie Ballantyne, rapper Messi Maya, singer Georgina Anderson, country music musician Tommy Alverson, the drummer for Amen Corner and the Bee Gees, Mr. Dennis Bryan, King Crimson lyricist Peter Sinfield, and entertainer extraordinaire Des O'Connor. Next on the Music History Today podcast, it is November the 15th when in 2011, Drake released the album Take Care.